everyone. I'm Tammy, the creator of the blog and this YouTube channel called Nutmeg Notebook. And this is my husband, Tom.
Hello, everyone.
And this is where we share all about our whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Sometimes we talk about food, sometimes we talk about other topics. Today, we happen to have two special guests in the house, so we're real excited about that. But first, Tom wants to do a little bit of housekeeping with you just to make the experience go well.
To begin with, our guest, who is quietly in place on screen there, is going to be doing a presentation about packing light and eating right while traveling. So we want to let Laura get through her presentation. And then as we get towards the end of that, we're going to transition to talking a bit about food. And you may have more questions there that you want to pop in on the chat feed, and I will convey those to the ladies, whether the question's for Laura or for Tammy. So please give me 4 question marks before and after the question, so it really jumps out at me. Hello, moderators. I see they're here. If you forget question marks, they may remind you to give me some question marks, so I actually will see your question. So
Ready?
Other than that, you're pretty much on your own. But enjoy the show, Tammy.
Thank you. Are you moving me back over to this camera?
Yeah.
Okay, so you may remember that just a short while ago, we interviewed my friend Laura Armitage on our Sunday show, and she shared with us her amazing plant-based journey, her 100-pound weight loss transformation. In fact, Tom, you've got some pictures that you can show of Laura before, and
Yes.
Then they'll get to see the
after.
after.
Let me bring those up for you.
And, you know, I've learned so much from Laura. She may not realize this, but when we interviewed her last time, she talked about how she does my batch prep for salads, but she's trimmed it and made it even easier because she doesn't mix it up all in a bowl. She would just set her containers out and put her ingredients for her salads in her containers. So Laura, I started doing that. That saves me 30 minutes. Yeah. Now I can make, it's amazing. And now I can make a dozen of those salads in just 30 minutes instead of an hour.
You want to talk about the 3 pictures there?
Yeah, so there she is. Those are her before pictures. You can see what a transformation. And she is one busy grandma. And look at her now. She's strong. I mean, you were beautiful before, and you're even more beautiful now.
Is that one of her grandkids?
And full of energy. And not only do we have Laura with us today, but her grandson is joining us. And some of you may recognize him, Ian Armitage. He plays Little Sheldon on TV. And he wanted to join us today as well because he packs like grandma packs, which is pretty amazing. So Laura, welcome. Ian, welcome. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to let Ian first tell you a little bit about his packing. Then he has to go off and play with his aunt's dragon.
Yes. She has a pet dragon.
She has a pet dragon of some kind.
And what is its name, Ian?
Vigo. He's the cutest.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyway, yeah, he loves eating grapes. He is not quite a vegetarian because he does eat some crickets and some worms, but he's a lizard, so you can blame him.
Well, a lizard's got to eat what a lizard's got to eat. But so you pack like grandma does too?
Yes, ma'am.
Not always, but
yeah,
for this trip.
Not
for this trip.
But for this trip, I'm not even going to go. When I fly back to Virginia, I'm not even going to go to our house. We're going to go straight from Virginia to California because I'm not here with my mom right now, just Mom A. So I'm flying back by myself to meet my mom at the airport. Then we're going straight to our next flight to California. So we wanted to just take a backpack this trip so we're not having to wait for a bunch of checked bags. So, and I've done this before, but this is, you know, this time I really committed. And
he used a backpack just like mine.
I used a backpack
I'm going to tell about.
Just like hers, which is the special kind of backpack, which is awesome. And I've been here a week and a half, and I haven't even worn all the clothes that I packed. And I packed, I think, 2 or 3 pairs of shorts, 1 pair of jeans, a bathing suit, and
bathing suit cover up.
1, 2, 3, 4 t-shirts and my taekwondo uniform.
And a jacket.
Yeah, and a jacket. And then I packed my, my iPad, my headphones, and some toys and stuff, and 2 books, and all that fit in this backpack perfectly. And also all my toiletries, like my toothbrush, toothpaste, moisturizing cream, like stuff like that. All of it fit into this awesome bag. Or not this particular one.
And it fits under your seat on the plane if you
and
want to.
it's not like some huge.
That's amazing.
And it's the cool thing about it is I think it's like a magic portal. You can put all the stuff you want in there and it just stays. And it doesn't explode, or it's not crazy heavy.
No.
It's a little heavy, but it's it's nothing.
But you're
Well, it's such a time saver because then you're not having to stand in line to check baggage, or when you get to your destination, you're not having to wait around for it to come on the luggage carousel.
It was so weird. When we walked in the airport, I instinctually, just like out of habit, started walking towards where you check your bags out. And Mommy was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, and then she was like, "Well, let's go to TSA." I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
No language yet.
Yeah, but it was
That's
really
nice.
Yeah,
it was really fun.
there's a question what bag Ian is using. Is it the same company as yours?
It's the same exact bag. I actually bought it for his mom years ago, and I bought him a smaller one, but he outgrew the smaller one, so he swiped his
But
mom's.
it's not this actual bag. It's another bag from the exact same company,
Right.
the same size, but different. It's
Different colored. It's
it's
a
eggplant.
newer one.
Yeah.
It's a newer one. Yeah, it's eggplant.
Nice.
I think. So you can go hang with Allie if you want to. Okay. And Ian first met Tom and Tammy. How many before your grandkids were born?
Oh,
Before-
yeah. Was that like
3 years ago.
2019, 2018?
It was Las
When?
Vegas 3 years
No.
ago.
2017?
No,
Wow.
that's 4 years ago.
I went twice.
It
You
was-
guys
it
didn't
could've
go to
been-
the second one I went to because the twins were about to be born.
Right. So it was the first one. So
2017.
I think it was
2017.
2017.
It was the show had started already. I remember saying to people at work all season, like, I'm so excited we're taking a road trip to
okay.
Vegas.
Well, weren't you doing a show in
Something with
Vegas?
tap, something with tap
In
dancing.
Vegas then
No,
too?
I wasn't doing a show in Vegas.
No.
I was filming in California for the
Filming
show.
had started, but I don't know if seeing it had started.
No, seeing it.
Yeah.
Oh, it had started.
It was
Yeah, and at lunch one day you shared with me that you had given up sugar and you were so excited about that.
Although
I just remember that.
what you were saying earlier was I am naturally very energetic, and
Yeah,
I
you
can
are.
go for hours.
Doesn't matter
It's
without
like-
sugar, with sugar.
Our joke at work is that whenever we have a long shooting day or a night shooting day or something, I'm always crazy energetic, and people say like, "Can I just have a tiny bit of your energy?" And I'm like, "Sure."
But he told me proudly that he was giving up sugar for a year before that trip. And I
Yeah.
said, well, that's great. I'm giving it up for my whole life. No, he was giving it up for a few weeks. And I said, I'm giving it up for my whole life. And he said, okay, maybe I'll do it for a year. Like, I said, well, yeah, your life's longer.
Well, no, but I had given up sugar for like 2
Yeah.
years before that.
Yeah, you had.
I kind of recently been doing it more on and off, but I don't eat the thing is, it's funny because oftentimes if I see, I've never had breakfast cereal in my life. I don't drink soda. I don't drink any Coke, or I don't even drink like lemonade and stuff. I don't have a lot of sugar.
Not that much.
I don't have any. Also I have sealants on my teeth, so I don't have any gummies or anything. And
Right.
that's half the candy. So
It's
a lot of
true.
stuff like that.
Right.
I don't have.
You can hang with Allie.
Well, I want to know, can I ask Ian a question? Ian, do you feel better? Do you feel better when you don't eat sugar?
I do, yes, ma'am. Also, I do taekwondo, so whenever I'm doing class and I haven't been eating sugar, I usually feel more, I don't know, I'm better with endurance, better with a lot of
Stronger.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So that alone is helpful, just to know that you'll feel better. Because he shared with me before we went live that when he gave up sugar and then he ate a cupcake, it made him vomit.
Not
Yeah.
feel-
Yeah.
Because, your body's just not used to that sugar. Thanks for joining us, honey. It was good to see you again.
I was going to have him hand me the stuff, but he's got his aunt out there waiting with her lizard thing.
How do you open the
Full
store?
heart.
Oh,
There you go.
jeez. Okay. Bye, guys.
I love. Okay.
Bye.
So,
He's so sweet.
I know, and he remembers everything about that UWL
That trip.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
That's
was
great.
going to start by showing people. So the next place I'm going to go is the National Health Association Conference in Cleveland, Ohio. So I just today got out everything I think I'll take to that conference. And this is an easy one because it's like 3 days of kind of the same thing plus a little exercise or hiking. So that's it. But I did first look up Cleveland, and it's cold. I mean, I've never been to Ohio, but it's not even going to be warm at the end of June.
Wow.
So first I take a very small purse. I always use the same one, day or night. It's just made out of fabric. It's real little. If I have a lot to pack, I take any kind of bigger bag or purse, and then I can put this purse in it. And then I can put other, like a coat in it or some clothes, shoes, or things that wouldn't fit in my backpack in here. And if my backpack gets heavy, I can put something that's a little bit heavy in here. And often it's the little bits of food that I usually do take, which is not much. But so then here is the backpack that I love. It looks huge there. It's not big. It's a Tom Bihn backpack, and it's named the Smart Alec, and they have stopped making them, but I think Tom has posted this in the show notes. They may make a few more on special orders sometime this summer, and then they named the one that they think is a good replacement. But what I like about it, it's very simple. This is like a big black hole. They're not a bunch of pockets or anything. There's a little zipper up here that you can fit a few things in. But what I do it's very hard to see all this, but in the very bottom, I put a pair of shoes. And I put socks inside the shoes, and that's all the socks I take, what'll fit inside the shoes. Doesn't matter if I'm going for a month or 2 days or what. And then I pack. The next thing I do is pack this packing cube, which is about 12 by 14. And this is also made by Tom Bihn. It's not one that is, there are packing cubes that compress, but this is just a regular thing to hold stuff together. Okay. So I'll put in there a pair of jeans. They're very light. They're made by Hue. And I think Hue makes tights and things like that, but they're just very thin, kind of jegging kind of jeans. I put that in the packing cube. I put a little bit of underwear, usually one extra bra, but I do have a sports bra in here and one extra bra. And the only reason is because some of the shirts are a lighter color, so I don't want the black bra under it. But, right. And then several shirts, and this is the jacket I would wear on the plane. And I don't know if you can see the colors of this shirt, but it's kind of gray with some maroon red in it, so it matches that. And then this one is gray with red in it, so it also matches that. And then these two are, I wouldn't say dressy, but they look a little nicer, like if you changed before dinner or anything. I probably won't, or I could just wear them another day. But I put those in, so that's 4 shirts. What I would have on is this shirt, these pants. I didn't mention these pants in the what I sent to Tom, the show notes section, but they are made by Beta brand. I would call it Beta brand because it sounds like better, but it's BETA BRAND. My little tiny niece, who's about 4'11" and I don't know, 90 pounds or less, told me about them. And I'm like, well, I don't know, they're fine on you, but they're not tight. They're not tight at the bottom. They have a regular shape, but they're a good bit spandex mixed in. And she wears them to work every day. And they call them dress yoga pants. Like people wear them with high heels on. I don't wear high heels, but people really dress up in them. But then you can go walking in them. You can do, but those are the only kind of pants that she owns. And she has several different colors. I just have black and gray, but she has several colors. She says she rarely washes them. If something gets on them, she just kind of takes a damp cloth and wipes them down. And they don't seem to get real dirty. I mean, if I'm with grandkids, they're going to get washed. But so they're a nice choice, mostly because this is going to be a little bit colder. Otherwise, I would take just more stretchy, maybe cropped pants and sandals or something. And then I have a sweater.
Laura, I have a quick question for you to kind
sure.
of give context to the materials you're talking about now. Someone asked, you know, in terms of going north to the conference in Ohio, what temperature range do you consider cold?
Well, just cold for summer compared to Georgia. I don't know, like a high at 70 or 65 or something. Maybe I don't remember exactly, but I knew, number one, I would be cold in a conference room anyway.
Okay.
And I just wouldn't be, it's a temperature that I would probably have shoes and socks, not sandals, for example.
Okay.
Right.
So, and then these shirts are all somewhat stretchy. They're not real stretchy. And I don't know what they're, I don't know the kind, but they're thin. They're all kind of thin.
Yeah, so they're not bulky. They don't take up a lot of space.
And then all of my sweaters, I actually never wore wool because I'm sensitive to wool until I learned about wool, the very light marinero wool and underwear. And I was telling Tammy, if I were doing it over, I wouldn't buy them now because buying wool and buying silk, it's still an animal product and the animals aren't treated well. But when I became a more ethical or stricter ethically vegan, I didn't throw away or give away things that I already owned. I have several pair of leather shoes that might last me the rest of my life, and I still have them. So anyway, but my sweaters and things, so my sweaters are often thicker cotton. And this one I have to choose because this is a gray, this is kind of a maroon. I have this sweater in a red, which would also match all of these shirts. So I can make my choice later. I didn't make it today. But anyway, that's all in the cube, which will still zip.
I love those packing cubes. I've used those and they're nice.
This just easily zips. Sometimes I'm like pushing on it and trying to get it, but then this will go in here sideways. This is kind of hard to see, but it's in there with shoes under it, and there's still an enormous amount of, like half the backpack is left.
Right.
And so on top of that, I'll just put loose in there leggings and a shirt to walk in. But then what I'll do, so after the first day or even by then, like this is what I'm going to have on the plane. This shirt, these pants, this necklace, this jacket. And then by the second day, I could also wear this shirt walking. So it's a little dirty, but it's not filthy. And I wear it walking, but in case I think I'm going to do something and get really sweaty, this is just a short sleeve Yale University t-shirt.
Nice.
And leggings. And then those just fit right in.
Laura, on the plane, are you going to, you'll have another pair of shoes besides the ones that are in the pack.
Yeah, and on this trip, I might not, because I might just wear sneakers
the whole time.
I have to decide if the hikes I go on, if there's any chance they would be muddy or anything. I might just have another pair of sneakers, because I don't think I'm going to wear, my feet get cold. I'm not going to probably want sandals, or I'll figure that out.
Okay.
And then this is masks for the, if we're required to wear them, and this can just sit in there. And then these two things, this one is liquids, and this one is, not liquids. And this backpack has two side zippers.
Oh, nice.
So I put one of these on each side. And just zip them closed. And we did all this with Ian, but it also really helps you make sure you haven't forgotten anything.
Right.
You know what goes everywhere. So,
And so you have the right amount of liquids in that so that you can get through TSA.
yeah, it's all TSA. And okay, this side's not cooperating, but the zipper areas are slightly stretchy. They give a lot. And then
Okay.
this hat, I can either wear on the plane, I can pack it, but what I often do is this has strings on the outside, and I just stick it down in there. You can also put a coat there if you want to. But
is that a special collapsible type hat?
It's a Tilly.
it's a Tilly hat. No,
Tilly?
it's really old. It'll straighten out when I get it out.
Yeah, nice.
Then there's the only little zipper compartment built in the bag is at the top. So I normally I have to charge a phone and a watch. So I put the charger in. You're not seeing my head, but I do
It's
still
okay.
have. And on the other side, I put a very small hairbrush. Oh, see, I'm backwards. And a little spork thing.
Oh, nice.
And then I have I'll look at the weather again, but I have a fairly thin coat that's somewhat water resistant. That's just black and real thin and plain. And if I want to take it, it'll still fit in there. And I won't even need, and also a little bit of food. The food I take is normally oatmeal packets, which to me, they're starting to taste kind of like glue.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good, like they used to be. But in case I really got in a pinch and there wasn't, and then I take some dehydrated greens. And the dehydrated greens are from Harmony House.
Oh, I love Harmony House. Yeah.
And they don't have salt or anything added. Well, the funny thing is, if you buy the green, they don't have too many varieties of just greens. They have green beans, they have broccoli, and maybe one more thing. But you can buy them in a small packet, and then they're sealed and they're labeled. But I bought them in a big jars, and then you can buy the packets, you know, with the Ziploc.
Yeah.
So I packed them all. I went on a recent vacation with Ian and his mom, and I packed them all, and I took them to meet them in New York. And then I said, they were checking a bag, and Ian was checking a bag, and so was his mom. And I said, okay, Ian, I just have to put my vegetables in your bag because, you know, we were going to Turks and Caicos, so that's a flight with customs, that's international. And I'm like, I don't know what they're going to think. So my daughter posted a picture on YouTube and said, my mom's stash is in Ian's bag. Get arrested. Because it looked just like pot, I guess.
I bet it did.
And so if you're traveling internationally and you do buy that at Harmony House, you want to get the sealed labeled one. And
Good
I did.
idea.
I went to Morocco, I did that.
And so what do? Do you just add those to food that you get? Or we'll talk about that when we get to food.
We'll get there, but
Let's talk about let's finish talking about the
you guys,
clothes.
because we have
The
the
other
slides to go through,
packing.
but then you guys are going to talk more about.
We'll talk more about the
eating
food.
on the road and
Yeah.
how to.
We're going to
The
get through we'll get through the packing first. I'm so impressed with your
and then
packing.
I usually put herbal tea. But the thing is,
Okay.
even if this trip, if I went to this conference and someone said, oh, well, come stay with me for a month, I would still have enough clothes because those jeans would dry in a day or two, even if someone didn't have a dryer or something. These pants would dry pretty quickly. The shirts, you know, if you have 4 different shirts and 3 different, like sweater or jacket or nothing on, it looks different every day for 7 or 8 days, and then you just start over. Like there's no, And this trip, there's no variety of this is going to be dressy, this is going to be casual. The more complicated trips, Tom has some pictures. The first one would be a London trip. I was also with Lee and his mom. And this was, it was spring, early spring, but it was very cold. So the puffy jacket and the vest that are in the very top of that picture, I wore all that on the plane. That's one thing, you wear all of your heaviest stuff. And I probably had on a sweater and the vest and the coat, and then you just take them off if you're hot in the plane, but they're not packed, they don't have to be packed. And then I took 3 sweaters. You see on the, am I gonna show? Well, I'm not gonna show, but anyway, there's a kind of a black and white design right under the coats, and then an off-white, and then a sort of pattern with a little bit of flowers in it. Those are 3 different sweaters. The top one would only go with black, in my opinion. The middle one would go with everything, and the bottom one would go with everything. And then several shirts. And then I think he can go to the next. There are more pictures with that.
Go to
trip,
the next
right?
one.
Yeah, that's the backpack.
That we just saw, right?
Yes.
Another picture of the backpack.
Okay. All
And
right.
then there was another one with clothes.
That's the purse you were showing.
First, but you can probably see it better in here than you could see with me.
Yeah. Here's the layout of some clothes.
That's a different trip.
That's a different
And you're on
set of
the
clothes.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
See if there's another one with those same clothes.
No, there's, I didn't do a picture of, oh, that has everything I wore in it too. So usually if I take a picture,
Oh,
it's minus one outfit.
Okay.
But that was, we were probably in London for 2 weeks.
And so do you buy some laundry soap when you get to your destination, or do you pack a little bit of it so you can wash things out?
I wash things out with the soap in the bathroom, or even with shampoo if I have to. My parents, when I was a kid, I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, there was a tennis tournament there, and they asked people in our city who would be willing to put up a couple of tennis players, have them stay with you, and then you could come to the tennis match for free, or maybe it was, I don't know, but we went to the tennis match. And these 2 young men, probably college age or a little older, stayed with us for like a week. And every day they got completely sweaty playing tennis. And my mom kept saying, can I do any laundry for you? And they would say, oh no, we're fine. And finally, by about the 3rd day, she said, you've got to have some stinky, dirty clothes. You don't want to take them home dirty. And they said, oh no, we just get in the shower, fully dressed after tennis, and we wash everything off, and we soap up our shirts, soap up our pants, take it all off, rinse it out, and then we bathe ourselves. Well, I don't do that, but I do take things in the shower with me. It's easier than you fill up the sink, you wash, then you got to empty it out and try to rinse them and put more and more rinse water. You just hold them under the shower. And
that is brilliant.
Yeah, I know. Then the cold trip, like England, all of my well, I did some band stuff probably when I was still in what I was sleeping in, but oh, I didn't pack this. This is like a night shirt. This goes in, but there's plenty of room. But anyway, I walked in my clothes for the day because it was never hot. So I would go out walking and then come back and meet them, and then we would go on with our day, and I just kept the same clothes on, and I wasn't sweating.
They didn't need separate exercise clothes.
I didn't have any separate. I did exercise bands, and I didn't have any separate clothes.
Okay.
But, and then the other trip that he has, I think, is the very complicated trip, the hardest thing ever.
Was this the wedding one?
No, I don't have the, I'm going to tell you the wedding one, but this was a trip to Europe and Tanzania, and it was almost a month long. It was like 3.5 weeks. And down at the bottom is a bathing suit and a cover up, which were necessities for there. And then I had 2 pair, I don't think I took any jeans at all. I had 2 pair of kind of those thin safari kind of pants you can get from Travel Smith or REI or all kinds of places.
Yeah.
One was black and one was tan. And then I took several t-shirt kind of things and then two real thin, I just use shirts like they're not a jacket, but over a t-shirt. So you're covered from the sun. They're real paper thin.
Mhm.
And they're just over whatever shirt I have on. And then I did have a jacket on that trip, but I didn't pack it. I wore it on the plane. And then I thought I looked fairly different every day, but you'll see in the next pic. Oh, Tom, go to the next ones.
Okay, and Tom's got a question for you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let me switch over here. Randy's asking, on shorter trips, what do you do with the, where you're not going to go stand in the shower with your clothes on? What do you do with the clothes that you wore, the day or 2 days before, say a 3 or 4 day trip?
If it's not hot summer, I'll wear things again. And I will still rinse out underwear and stuff. And I have stuff that dries really fast that is this very thin wool, but I'm sure there's synthetic things that do the same thing now. I've had these.
When we're traveling, and this is, well, either by air or by car, we take a trash bag, and the clean clothes in the suitcase, it all fits in the suitcase, but there's the clothes out free in the suitcase, and then they slowly migrate over into the trash bag.
I don't have enough to do
So you
that.
wind up with this big puffy trash bag by the time you get home full of dirty clothes and the two
But
clean
if I've
clothes.
only got 4 shirts and 2 pair of pants, there's not a lot to get with.
Well, and there's a lot of travel clothes now that we can buy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the fabrics that were made so that they would wash and dry, or that could be washed and then they'll dry really quickly, just hung up in your hotel room. And they're made so they won't wrinkle.
Yeah.
And because they're thinner fabric too, they don't take up a lot of room because they're not bulky once you fold them up. So
and that was what I wore on the plane in the Tanzania and Europe trip. And I don't know what the two, I think red was my shirt. I don't know what the other red thing is. It might have been like a big scarf that you could kind of put over you to sleep on the plane or something. I don't remember what that other red thing was. And there's the same hat and the shoes and socks.
And some hiking shoes.
Hmm?
And some hiking shoes.
Those are they're like the Teva kind of sandal. They are hiking closed-toe sandals.
Oh, yes.
Oh, they're open.
I wore those almost every day, and I wanted to take only those. And my daughter was just like, Mom, no, what if the strap on it breaks? What if whatever? And I still have the shoes, and I still wear them half the days in the summer. But anyway.
I'm learning so much from you, Laura. I'm so inspired.
So this is showing you the real challenge. Look at that stuff on the left.
Yeah.
We had to have every kind of first aid thing. We had to have international plugs. We took a lot of stuff. This trip had 2 young children on it. I used to take something that I was convinced helped. It was named No Jet Lag. You chewed it up, but it has sugar in it, so I don't do it anymore. And then I had some earplugs. Sometimes the plane might hurt my ears. They're not earplugs. They're to keep your ears from feeling that way on the plane. And we just had we had a full size, we had 2 between the 5 of us. We had 2 big cameras, like not just on our cell phone, because this was pretty long ago. I think it was 2013 or something. So we divided up the cameras, like one person would pack the lens and one would pack the body, that kind of thing. And then the little turquoise thing is a towel. Most places we went didn't have, well, in Europe they did, but in Tanzania they didn't have a towel. So we had to take our own towel. And then is that everything? And then the second picture is just, I guess I used to take, that's probably a, what do you call it? iPad. I don't know.
Okay.
Phones were smaller. Now my phone is big enough that I can read a book or something on my phone. So I don't take an iPad or anything. And then is that all, Tom, of that?
Is that black bag where like you'd store your passport and stuff, is that under your, because when we traveled Europe, we had an under your shirt little bag with a long neck strap, and so your cash and your passport.
Yeah,
and
I have that. And then,
you wear that underneath your clothes.
Uh-huh.
and then we would put, because there were 5 of us, and so we would divide up money or credit cards and put it in different people's bags, like even the little kids, so that if somebody lost something, we would be okay. And we had we had passport, we had a picture of our passport and a picture of our credit cards and ID, and well, the passports and ID. But, and then the one trip that I didn't, I guess I could have just gotten it out and taken a picture, but my favorite travel pants, they don't make anymore, and it was on that thing I gave Tom. They are, let me look. It's gonna be in the show.
You noted the fabric and stuff. It's in the show notes, all about them.
They are Tilly pants, like Tilly makes the hats I wear. Yeah, that's a group of 5. And that's all the luggage we had. So if we got out somewhere and could hike to our hotel, that was in Amsterdam, we often just hiked to the hotel. We never had to order 2 taxis or whatever because there were 5 of us with big bags. Everybody could just wear their backpack and we could just walk.
That's so great.
But yeah, and the little one, she was probably 6 or 7. She was little. But the pants that I love, they no longer make. And I don't know if you can find something similar or look on, not eBay. What's the other? Yeah, eBay. But anyway, they were made by Tilly. Tilly doesn't seem to even make clothes anymore because I looked. They were 93% polyester, 7% spandex. They won't show up well on here. They just look thin and black. To me, they look like silk dress pants if you put something dressy with them. And they look like hiking pants if you put on a hiking shirt with them. So if I'm going to, so now I don't even have, Tammy's gonna think I'm crazy, but I don't have any dressy dress pants. Those fit me the best. They look the best. They have a side zipper so they aren't bulky anywhere. And I have several dressy tops. And so I've had to go to a wedding before where then I was going on the rest of my vacation was another week. So I had those pants. I had 2 different dressy tops, very dressy, and I had just simple black flats. And then that was the rehearsal dinner and the wedding, and I couldn't wear the same thing, clearly.
Right.
And then I had the rest of my clothes. And I think what I did, I was going on to New York after that. I think I might have mailed those dressy tops home because I had them kind of squished in there, and they were just, but I didn't have to, I just did. So that was, the Tanzania trip was by far the most complicated. We had long lists. My daughter-in-law, my daughter's wife made a long spreadsheet, and we had to divide things up between the different backpacks. And it just makes, you're spending so much less time thinking about what you're going to wear and which outfit, and you just throw on your clothes and you're done.
So this shot of the cruise seems to be in Venice, from what I can see in the back.
Yeah, that's in Venice.
Yeah.
And they had those backpacks, and everybody did fine.
I
And
love this.
Remember
Little
when
one Ruby, hers was significantly smaller.
Well, the cobblestone streets in Venice are so difficult. Like we had rolling suitcases.
We had rolling suitcases and one with the backpack straps because they told us that it would.
That's right, we did.
You better have wheels or a backpack type. So we actually bought some kind of luggage that had straps. So I had on backpack style, but it was a great big bag on my back, and then hers was on wheels. So
the real thing that got me interested, I worked every year for a month in Tanzania in an orphanage for 10 years after I had retired from teaching. And I was a teacher there. And they wanted each person who came to, it was a volunteer thing, to volunteer there, to bring a big duffel bag that they provided, that they had filled with things that people had donated. So you could only check 2 bags, yours and their duffel bag.
Donations.
So I got the idea, I could take 2 duffel bags if I could fit all my clothes in a backpack, because there you really did. Someone rinsed out your clothes. Someone who worked there rinsed them out in a stream and hung them up. to dry. I don't even know that they had soap. I don't know. But so I had like 2 or 3 real lightweight pants and the lightweight shirts. And the thing was, I thought, but I'm staying for a month and I have to have shampoo, toiletries, whatever. So I got the bright idea of sticking those in the backpack that I was checking. I mean, the duffel bags.
Duffel bag.
The duffel bags of donation. And when I got there, I'm like, wait, that's not yours. That's my shampoo. You know. So every time I went, I could take way more it wasn't things I was donating. It was just donations they had received. So I took tons of stuff for the kids and had my stuff in a backpack. And it was so much easier than having a whole suitcase of stuff you didn't need.
Right.
So that's what gave me the idea. And that was a full month.
So ladies, there's a lot of curiosity about how you manage food
Okay,
on a
let's do it.
plant-based
Okay.
diet. So Tammy, how did you want to step into that subject? I see.
Yeah. Well, so Laura already touched on the fact that you take some dehydrated greens with you. And so maybe you could tell us what you do with those.
Yeah, that's most trips. It wouldn't be if I went to New York because you can get greens every other place.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm going to be able to get greens for breakfast. Well, even at the conference I'm going to, I don't know that they'll have greens first thing in the morning. And that's a real strict thing that I have not missed a single day, I don't think. And so I have found out that you can just mix them with warm water in the sink. And I even found out when I went to Morocco, you can mix them in room temperature water because we weren't drinking the water out of the sink there. And they just kind of mush down a little bit, but they're good. I mean, they're not bad. And so I just eat a cup full of those every morning, first thing. It's not near as many greens as I would eat at home, but then I go to breakfast. If there is something else that's green, fine. If not, I'll have oatmeal or, something. And I always have the oatmeal packets. But that works beautifully unless you end up in jail for smuggling something. But that hasn't happened yet. But they could.
Do you have another question, Tom?
Yeah, there's a kind of back on the finishing up the packing thing. And I've seen this in some of my former business life. I would get into a client's office and there would be a lot of like artwork on the wall that came from some global trip that they did. And so they would be on this trip and find this artwork and they would just have to have it. And so they would buy it. But if you're just packing in a backpack, you're certainly not going to be hauling many souvenirs home. So how do you deal with keepsakes for a trip?
I think that's basically good.
You can't
take a lot of pictures, and I have a whole room upstairs with framed pictures from African safaris and from children in Africa and from Morocco.
So you bring home your memories.
Those were the 2 big trips I took, but I also bring grandkids little bracelets but I don't get everybody a t-shirt or everybody much of anything. But I have brought home small little artwork things. This stretchy strap, you can fit some crazy stuff in there. One of the boys in Tanzania that I sponsored, his mother gave us all 3 they wear their clothing and wrap it all around, and you can even use that as tablecloths. And we all had those. We had stuff just hanging out of our backpack by the end, because you can't, it's a gift.
Yeah. So then when you're traveling and you're having to eat out, I know in New York you can get compliant food, but what do you do when you are going someplace like another country? What do you do? How do you handle the
in
food?
New York, actually, this time, because we were there for a few days, the most simple restaurants in New York have closed permanently. The 4 that I loved, where you could just get beans, greens, and rice or something, and with no seasonings, they're gone. A lot of the ones left are more sauces, and we did find one. It used to be more of our 3rd or 4th favorite, but it's still open. So I heard Victoria Moran say when somebody was interviewing her recently that there were a lot of simple places to get whole food, plant-based food in New York, and I need to ask her because
Where are those?
They're gone, but she
Mhm.
lives in Harlem, so that's a little further uptown than where we usually stay. But the challenging trip was Morocco. I was that was probably the end of my weight loss. I didn't know, I wasn't weighing, I didn't have a goal. I just, when I stopped losing, I would stop. But the pictures from there look about like I still look. And so I didn't want to blow it. And I don't know if Tammy would remember but I was even posting on the UWL, on Chef AJ and JP's site, like, should I not go? Because I'm going to have I can tell them I'm vegan, but it's a group. And I'm not going to be able to say, and I don't want any oil and I don't want any this. I mean, I could, but it's a group going in a restaurant. So breakfast was easy. I always had oatmeal with me and I had greens. But it left me pretty hungry by lunchtime. So a lot of the food there was one other friend who was vegetarian, but not vegan. So they brought us the same meal in every city, in every restaurant. Luckily, it was unbelievably delicious. And it was couscous and vegetables, couscous and 7 vegetables. And I would say, please, no oil or whatever. And, they tried to follow. But I was worried about the couscous because it's not really, it's a pasta.
Right.
I hadn't had any pasta in a year and a half. But I didn't find that it pulled me in like maybe noodles or something, bigger things would. To me, it seemed just about like having quinoa. I mean, how it tasted or wanting more, it didn't bother me. But even if it had bothered me, I couldn't get more because they brought out the portion, but it didn't. It was very filling. And, but most of the people, this was a group trip, but a friend organized it. And he invited all people that he knew. It was a company where you could just go. It's named OAT, Online Adventure Travel or Overseas Adventure Travel, something. But you can just join a group. And it's very interactive with local people wherever you go. That's what they're known for. But the trip size, if you can fill up your own trip, you can take all your friends. So he sent emails to everybody he'd known since college, and he's 80 now, so he was in his late 70s. And there were a few spaces left, so some people took another friend or something. So nobody knew everybody, but everybody knew 3 or 4 people. So they would comment that I was eating more than anyone on the trip because I was cleaning my plate, literally every meal. But what I didn't say, and they really didn't realize, they had all had wine or a drink. They had all had chips and dip or nuts. This was all before dinner. Then they all had bread before the dinner got served. Meanwhile, I'm starving. And then they brought out the food, and most of them would eat half or 3/4. And they would go, they all knew me when I was heavier, and they'd be like, aren't you worried you're going to gain weight back? And you're eating all of that. And I was in my mind thinking how they were eating. And I was thinking, I'm probably okay, And because sometimes I was a little hungry, I did find some canned corn in the store somewhere with no salt. And I bought a bunch of that. And I just opened up the can and ate it sometimes in the morning. But I didn't gain any weight. And, it went fine. That was I was worried about that. And then as the trip came to an end, I started thinking, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm eating way too much. I don't know, but it worked out. So.
Well, you were walking a lot and you were eating mostly low calorie density food, even though you were eating a larger quantity than they were.
I didn't know about that.
At that time.
The couscous.
Yeah.
That was
sure.
a little worried, so that was the most, what I thought would be the most challenging trip for food. And it might be if I went to some other exotic country that didn't have a vegan thing that happened to be my favorite. I don't know. And on other trips, I just, a lot of people say this, but sometimes the best place you can go is a steakhouse. And because they have wonderful potatoes usually. They have wonderful steamed vegetables. They always have broccoli and they always have a big salad. And I have the most trouble when close friends say, oh, because you're coming, we've chosen this vegan place, or because it's your birthday. And I'm kind of like, because I like to support those places, but sometimes it's harder.
Yeah, sometimes it is. So I have talked to some other people who have gone to Europe and or they've gone to Asia, and they say, you know, a lot of times you're just eating bland food because you have to order so simply. So, you know, a lot of places you can get rice, just plain rice, and some plain steamed vegetables. But I think because we have neuro adapted to more plain food, I can be perfectly happy with that, with just plain rice and plain vegetables. And, you know, the best seasoning is hunger. And when you're really hungry, that plain food can taste really amazing.
And also, eating is not the highlight of your trip anymore.
Exactly.
You're going to get full to go do more stuff. You're not going like, oh, this restaurant, that restaurant, got to try this and that. So.
Right. And was it you, Laura, that I was talking to that said, like, in the mornings on one of your trips, you'd go out, you'd have your little breakfast in your hotel room, you'd go for your walk, you know, and you would already have like tons of energy, and other people were spending their morning eating the fattening breakfast.
Well, yeah, and that trip, it was, and I might have even said the day we arrived, so that's a long way to Morocco. That's the biggest, other than those trips to Tanzania, that I haven't done a lot of, you know, big, amazing trips. So that was the major highlight in my life. And when we arrived, I knew that the best thing to do if you had jet lag is get out in the sun. So everybody else went to bed. It was like morning. And I went on this long walk and they thought I was crazy, but I was plenty energetic and I felt good. And then they weren't tired that night. I mean, they were tired, but they couldn't sleep because they had slept so long that morning.
Right.
So yeah, it's good. And on that trip, I really felt everybody was about my age. The guy that planned it was a few years older, and my sister-in-law is 2 years older. But everybody was pretty close to my age, and I definitely was one of the most energetic. So that feels nice.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And the way we eat makes such a big difference. So a couple of the things that I do when we're traveling here domestically is once we've decided where we're going and I have the route that we're going to go and so forth, I go ahead and I go online and I look to see what things are available close to where we're staying. You know, so I use the Happy Cow.
Happy Cow, I love. That's
app.
That's a good thing to mention.
It is. And then there's one called Vanilla Bean. So Vanilla Bean. It's vanilla hyphen bean.com. And they also have an app, and that's for vegan restaurants. And then I have also gone to look to see if there is a vegan Facebook group for that town. And that is a great place to ask, where can I get healthier vegan food? I'm coming to visit. And I see people doing that for our community all the time, you know, going to be
in the word simple, because you don't want the sauces and you
know, and the fried stuff. But you can ask, you know, is there some place that I can go and get, you know, simple, healthy food? I'm just looking for this. So that's good, because then you're talking to local people.
Yeah.
You can also look up on Yelp for the town that you're going to go to and search for vegan. And sometimes you'll find there a regular restaurant that has some vegan options. And sometimes that is healthier than actually going to the all vegan restaurant. And then I'll look up, we try to stay in Airbnbs or get hotel rooms that have a little kitchen, but I've even done cooking, you know, in one that has only had a microwave. But what I do is I look up to see if there's any food co-ops or a Whole Foods or a health food store or a Trader Joe's near where we're going to be staying. Just so, because, well, I know there's probably not going to be any salad bars anymore, but we used to go, and look for places that had salad bars. But also wherever you're staying, if you ask the clerks there at the hotel, if you're staying in a hotel, for some help, they usually have a list of like vegan restaurants, or they'll be able to tell you where you could go. And now it'll be even easier than it used to be, but you can actually get groceries delivered to your Airbnb or your hotel if you have a little kitchenette, especially now, because almost all of the grocery stores, Whole Foods, they're all offering that. And so you can, even if you're flying someplace domestically and you're not going to have a vehicle, you can take Uber and go to the grocery store or have stuff delivered. And then I do carry with me my little travel bottles of vinegar, because I can make the most plain food and taste even more delicious. And if you don't want to take liquids, then, take a small container of whatever your favorite a multi-seasoning, an SOS-free seasoning mix, whether
I can take one of those small things with me, but before I started having those, that was usually what I missed most on a trip, was not having something to put on my salad. And sometimes when you say you want plain balsamic vinegar, people still bring vinaigrette.
Yes. And then I have to say, please,
Yeah, I know.
just, I had one waiter tell me in a restaurant, oh, we don't have any just plain balsamic. I said, well, most restaurants do. That's how they're making this balsamic vinaigrette. So if you could go in the kitchen and ask, and sure enough, he brought back out just some plain balsamic. And I'm happy if they just have like a lemon or a lime too.
Yeah, right.
But then if you do have some vinegar, or you do have like some kind of SOS-free seasoning mix, I mean, you can just go to a local grocery store and buy Mrs. Dash, once you get to your destination, just something to make that plain potato or the plain vegetables taste good. And Tom and I did a video. It was number 8. I looked it up today. It was our 8th video.
Was that a Tuesday with Tammy?
It was Tuesday
with Tammy, and
how to eat healthy away from home.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so in that video, I show you all kinds of shelf stable products that you can buy if you are taking a suitcase, or that you can go to a health food store and purchase, or a regular grocery store once you get to your destination. And what that does is it helps supplement. So, you can buy the beans that come in the Tetra packs now, and even Target and Walmart sell them, and you can get them either low sodium or no sodium added. And so you don't need a can opener. You can actually just bend the top back and forth, and then it's perforated and it'll pull off. You can drain off the juice. If you take a little baggie with you, you can dump the beans in the baggie. Then when you go to the restaurant and you order a salad, you can take and dump those beans on your salad and, make it more filling. And if your hotel room or wherever you're staying has a microwave, even if it doesn't have one in the room, most of the kitchenettes where they serve their continental breakfast have a microwave. You can buy a potato at the grocery store and you can microwave the potato, and then you can cut it up and just season it with your SOS-free seasoning. You can take the beans and the potato and then order a big salad and throw that on top of the salad. So there's just so many ways that you can still eat healthy, because like Ian was sharing his experience of eating the cupcake after not having sugar. I can tell you that if I eat something now, if it has some oil in it, even, a lot of times you ask, please don't cook this with oil, but they don't think that they can. And so they put some in, it just really messes with my digestive tract. And
Wow.
it's just not, it's just not worth it. I don't want to get sick while I'm on vacation. So there's lots of different things that you can do. You can get the shelf stable quinoa. It's already cooked, or rice that's in the packets that's shelf stable, doesn't need refrigeration, or it's not frozen. You just have to make sure it doesn't have added salt or added oil to it.
Right.
And then you can take that into the restaurant and you can add that to your salad, or if you get a potato, you could rehydrate your greens. I know someone who gets the Harmony House. It's mixed vegetables that are dehydrated. And then she'll just take a water bottle, like a 16-ounce water bottle, and pour out some of the water, and then put the dehydrated veggies in that water. And like you said, it'll even work with room temperature water. And she'll do that in the morning before she leaves her hotel room. And then by the time lunch comes around, those have rehydrated. They've soaked up the water, and then you can add that to some rice or a potato or what have you.
They're good. They're perfectly
They're good.
And I was going to say, in addition to the way I pack, just leading into how you'll eat on a trip, the way I pack is more because I've tried to take a simpler approach to most everything. I moved to a much smaller house. I've never been cluttered or had a lot of extra stuff around, but I simplified even more. And there's a saying that I heard years ago when I was following, I think, a diet that Oprah Winfrey talked about, not her liquid weight loss thing, but something else. But it was like, you can't get enough of what you don't really need. No. And that definitely applies to food. If someone's giving you cookies, you just can't get enough. You just want more and more. You don't need them, but you can't get enough. And I think it applies to clothing. It can apply to clothing. It can apply to what you're taking on a trip. It can definitely apply to what's in your closet, because they say we wear 20% of what we own. And there are people with no clothes out there, so we don't need. And if you do your laundry and you've worn your favorite shirts and pants or dresses or whatever you wear all week, and you take them back out, I bet you're going to wear those again the next week. You're not going to wear the other 50 that you don't like, So I've gotten rid of most things that I don't like or use or wear. And it makes me feel lighter in the same way that losing weight makes me feel. And I could easily decide to take an extra bag. I could even check the bag that had all food in it. But I just kind of think people around the world can eat pretty healthy wherever they are. And I don't think I need to take everything from home and then have to prepare it. But some of the kind of things you're saying, definitely, if we rent a house at the beach for a week or something, I take tons of food and I make it ahead and pack it all up. But it's more the airplane trips that I'm thinking of. And I'm just like, if you're going to a 3-day conference, how many shirts could you wear? And then if you stayed an extra week, you could still wash those and wear them again, right?
Yeah. So for the day that you're flying to get to your destination, do you pack some food for that day?
I will take a little bit of food. I'm trying to remember. I already made my flight arrangement. It's pretty much morning. I'll probably take a salad. Mm-hmm. And if I do, I might actually need this bag that I said I could put my purse in, because you can just have 2 carry-ons. Then I won by signing up for something at Chef AJ's conference, and she suggested what I pick, and it was a Tupperware salad holder, and it has a little knife and fork and even a little place to hold vinegar or something at the top. It's really cute. And I take that with salad in it, and if it's not salad time for me, even if I'm taking other food, sometimes I use that same Tupperware because it fits easily in here. And so I probably will, unless a few times I've taken just a potato on a plane or something like that.
Yeah, we like to do that. I'll bake sweet potatoes ahead or the Yukon Golds. And if we want the potatoes to be hot, then, we can wrap them in foil and they'll stay nice and hot. TSA will look at them. They'll be like, what's in there? And you go, oh, it's a sweet potato. And they're like, well, you eat really healthy, They're like, And you can't
TSA in some places really asks about your food. They do in Savannah, but they don't in a lot of other places. So if I do have any food at all, I'll try to take it in that extra bag.
Okay. And fruit is easy to pack. Grapes, apples. We even sometimes will take bananas, but grapes and apples, carrot sticks, that kind of stuff. That's really easy. Or to pack like a container like you're talking, but make like a Buddha bowl or a burrito bowl to take that. They'll let that through. Hummus can be iffy depending on the TSA agent. Some will confiscate it and say it's too much like a liquid. But if you freeze it and take it in a container frozen, they will let you, it'll go through. And then it can be like your little ice to keep your whatever you have that you want to keep cold, and it'll thaw out after a couple of hours.
JP dehydrates that.
Yes, JP
I've never
takes,
done that, but
no, I haven't either, but he makes his hummus and then he spreads it out on the Teflex sheets and puts it in the dehydrator. And then you can just crumble it up and put it in a baggie and put it in your backpack and reconstitute it with some water. And you have instant hummus. So that's also a clever way to do it. I want to show you guys a new product that I was just introduced to this week. And it was funny. I got a private message on Instagram from this company called Wellbeing. And they said, oh, we had a customer that ordered some product for us. And they said that you recommended it. And they told us all about you. And
what was that phrase you said? Well-being?
Well-being.
Are you going to clarify that?
Well, it's called, I'm going to show them. It's Wellbeing. Wellbeing. And so I wrote back to her and I said, well, that's really nice, but I have never tasted your product. So they evidently got me confused with somebody else. And so then she said, oh, well, can I send you some? And I said, well, let me look at the product and see what's in it. Cause of course I wanted to make sure it was something that I would actually eat. And some of it was some of their, they have bars and they have bites.
You know, hold up the box so you can see the box.
Yeah. And so it's called
over here because that camera will
over here.
Yeah, that camera doesn't focus. So yeah, so Wellbeing.
So it's WELLBEAN. It's Wellbeing. And so she sent me the little sampler pack, and it has 5 different little bars or a packet of bites. And these are like half the size of what the regular bars are. And they are amazing. They are made with beans, fruit, and nuts. And they're delicious. Tom and I have sampled all except for this one. I kept this one.
Are these are empty
here.
wrappers?
Those are empty wrappers. But they're in each full-size bar. There's half a serving of beans, half a serving of nuts, and half a serving of fruit in each bar. So they are not as sweet as, let's say, Lara bars, because the Lara bars are really, really sweet. And they're not as moist because they're with beans. And so they're a little bit drier. Let's go ahead and open this one. Tom, can you grab a scissor and cut it so it has a clean cut?
Okay.
And I'll show you guys. So they're a little bit drier than a Lara bar, and they're not as sweet as a Lara bar. They do have some that are made with cashews. And so I made sure that she didn't send us anything that had cashews in it because our grandson is allergic to cashews. And
We're
so
over here now.
okay, so we
do you want me
try.
to cut this?
Yeah, cut that. So just so we can show them. And this is half
when
the
you got this
size.
open, do we all get to taste it today?
I wish. Well, here's what she did do. So she sent them to me and she said, let me know what you think. And so I had some, Tom had some, and we said, these are really good. and they don't have any oil, no added sugar, no
Oh, this is one big one in here.
yeah, but the full size one will be
It's
like
twice as
twice
big.
that
Okay.
big.
So yeah, it is.
Do you see? And
Yeah,
this one
great.
is, what flavor is this one? This one is chocolate chip walnut. And I said, these are really good. And I was so happy that they had some that didn't have cashews, because so many plant-based bars have cashews in them. And we just can't have anything like that in our house because of our grandson, for fear that he might accidentally eat one of them, and he's really allergic to them. So she said she would give us a code for our followers. If you go to wellbean.life, and I put a link in the show notes, but it's WELLBEAN.life. That's their website. You can get the sampler pack, which comes like this is the sampler pack, and you get 5 samples, and you will get it for $6.99, including shipping. And normally it sells for $12.99. And so you will put the code Nutmeg, capital NUTMEG, in the coupon code box, and you'll get the sampler pack for $6.99, including shipping, so that you guys can try them. Because I think these are going to be really great for my grandchildren. Something that we can take to the park, or when we take them on hikes, and we like to have snacks. These will be a really great snack, and they don't love beans, and so this is also going to be a nice way to get beans in them. Also, if you look at the ingredient list of what comes in the sample pack, if there's something that you're allergic to or you don't like, you can give them a message and tell them, please include this instead of that. And the one that I liked the most, my favorite, was called Sunflower Fig Bar. And this one is made with sunflower seeds instead of nuts. And it's made with figs and dates. And it does have a little bit of salt in this one. Maybe they all have just a little bit of salt. No, this one doesn't. So some have a little bit of salt and some don't. But I had not tried these. I've not seen them anywhere locally. They're a company here in California over by the bay. And I have to say, I'm really impressed. And I think they're delicious enough that the grandkids are going to like them too. So, and they don't require refrigeration. They are a little bit drier and a little more crumbly than like a Lara bar is. But I loved them. And you had the German chocolate one.
And it was not, sometimes when chocolate things are too sweet, I don't like them because it gives you that whole brain zing thing, which is not enjoyable. But it was only semi-sweet. It was quite enjoyable to taste the chocolate, to get the nutty, crunchy texture, and to really bite it, but not have your brain flip because of too much sugar.
I guess I don't have the wrapper.
Information that Tammy shared verbally is all in the show notes, by the way. Down below, all of Laura's stuff and her lists. I put everything she sent me. So go scroll past all that Laura stuff, and you'll find stuff about the beans.
Yeah, I put a link there, and remember the code is Nutmeg.
It's in there.
And it's wellbean.life. If you just Google Wellbean, you'll come up with a coffee bean company. And so you have to do wellbean.life. So that this was something new that just fell into our lap this week that we thought was really good. And we don't have
calories are in each bar.
I think if you look them up, it varies a little bit, but I think in each full bar, it's like 210 calories, but just the size of these, which I believe are, that's pretty small. This was plenty. And the bites you thought were plenty too. The 3 little bites.
So far as a little snack serving.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so dense.
It's
so
dense.
This is a on the road, get some nourishment and have something to feed your body. Susan Johnson had asked the question about the calories.
Yeah, I think they were around, I went to their website and looked, and I think they were around like 210 calories, which would be perfect for our grandkids. But if we're out hiking, 210 calories is like nothing.
Because you're burning it.
because
Yeah.
we're burning it up. So anyway,
Well, the thing about this too is it's going to be slow calories. It's not like eating a Laura bar or what I used to eat, those oat bars. I forget what they were called. They were
Cliff Bars.
Cliff Bars. I used to eat Cliff Bars when we hiked, and they worked, but there's so much sugar, so they did not sustain me as long as a couple of these would. I would eat 2 of those.
Yeah. And so because there is the beans, you've got the complex
There
carbohydrate,
you go.
which is going to sustain you for a longer period of time. So anyway, just wanted to share that. We don't have an affiliate.
That's a great thing for travel too, though.
This is going to be, that's what I thought. I told Tom this afternoon, oh my gosh, I have to share this because these would be great for travel. Because I mean, it could fill in if you can't, like you're starving, you can't get to the meal fast enough, and you're starving, but you have nothing to eat. These would be a really nice fallback because they're not going to make you have a sugar crash after you eat them. And for me, the Laura bars are too sweet, and these are not as sweet. So anyway, that's what I got. You have any more questions for us?
I believe if I missed something, Kathleen had a question. I'm scrolling back up a little bit. Do you take a plastic fork in your carry-on? Utensils for eating?
Yeah, she had a spork.
It's a little spork.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
and then if I take that Tupperware thing, it also has a fork and knife plastic that fit in the top of it. It's a Tupperware travel salad. I guess it's a salad bowl people would take to work or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing you can do if once you've made your air travel plans and you know which airports you're going to be in, you can actually go online and you can look up the food courts for that specific airport, and you can look at menus and you can find something. So like when we went on the vegan cruise and we flew to Florida, and I forget our layover, I think was in Dallas, was it? And so, I was able to go online ahead of time and look and see, oh, there is a salad place. Oh, there was a place where we could get baked potatoes.
Wendy's.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't a Wendy's, it was something else. I don't remember what it was now, but it was a place where I could get, we could order baked potatoes, and I got one and it was so good. I went back and got a second, because it really helped fill me up. And then there was a place where I could get a salad, and, you got to choose what went on it. And so you could tell them no nuts, no dried cranberries. And then I just had my little vinegar to put over it. So there's just, it takes a little more planning when we're whole food plant-based, but it's so doable, and it's so worth the extra effort to come home and not have gained weight.
And it's kind of fun just to solve it all and make it work, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Tammy, I wanted to say, so Tammy and Tom kind of started the little business that I have. So it's called Talking to Laura. It's at talkingtolaura.com. And I do private consultations, but I can talk about whatever. I can talk about travel or even minimalism kind of ideas, or I would call it simplifying, not really minimalism. But Tom's, I had taken a lot of classes and things, and I said, I just don't want a YouTube, a Facebook, whatever. And Tom said, just latch on to somebody's, our show or some others and be interviewed on there. And so there is a permanent discount for anybody that says Nutmeg Notebook or Tammy or whatever, just a free like half-hour consultation to kind of and you could just, some people just said, I'm just going to call you for the free half hour. I don't really want to do consulting, and that's fine too.
Yeah, so we listed in the show notes a link to Laura's website, and it's talkingtolaura.com. Isn't that amazing that you were able to get that, Talking to Laura, that nobody had that? I love that. And so you can see how lovely she is here and how much knowledge she has. And what I love about you, Laura, is you are so positive. You are so positive. You make everything more fun. And so I know that your
Everybody
coaching is
who-
amazing.
Don't you think everybody who eats this way just has positive energy and is positive because you feel so good?
It's true.
That's what
I
I
think
think.
that is true. It does make a difference when you're not dealing with a lot of ups and downs from the food that you're eating. You have another question, Tom?
Yeah, Javin, speaking of having energy,
Okay.
just kind of, that's my segue. Javin has a question. Javin, maybe is how it's pronounced. Do you drink coffee at home or while you're away? Or do you stay away from coffee? If so, why?
I never drank coffee and I never drank alcohol, and I don't really know why. I love herbal tea, but I used to be for many years addicted to Diet Coke, which I thought was healthy. And I said, well, it has no sugar and it has no calories, so it's like a health food, you know. And that was the hardest thing I ever gave up. I mean, I've never been a smoker either, but the Diet Coke, I mean, I think I had to start over 2 or 3 times. It was really hard.
Was that part of what Chef AG was teaching us?
No,
about eating?
it was the years
Before?
ago when my daughter took me to NIF and we were introduced to this way of eating. And she said, before we go, just stop drinking Diet Coke, because they didn't have coffee or, of course, soda. It was a total plant-based, whole food plant-based diet. And I said, but why, Lee? That's healthy. She's like, Mom, just do what I say.
Yeah, we moved away from coffee just because of the amount of caffeine in it, and that a number of seminars went to.
I don't want to
Sleep
be,
deprivation.
yeah, I don't want to be addicted to anything. I don't want to wake up and think that there's something I have to have. And except maybe the greens for breakfast, that's enough. But so I used to love green tea, which is really, really healthy and has a small amount of caffeine. But I would drink a couple of drinks of green tea, and then the next day I would say, well, you know, I'm already having a little caffeine. I could have a Diet Coke. So, you know, I just don't want to go there. So I just don't want to say there's something that I have to have, that I have to go out of my way and change my whole day to be sure I get it. That's really the reason.
Yeah, and I think Diet Coke is a difficult one for a lot of people because although it doesn't have the sugar, it has artificial sweetener, it is the sweetness and also the caffeine. And,
Yeah,
you know, we
it's
do
a
get,
bad combination too.
yeah. And so
What-
we get addicted to that.
What
I
about-
gave that up years ago myself.
What about Tammy's and Randy, one of our moderators? What about their addiction to chopped salads?
Mine too. Today,
At least it's healthy. At least
today and yesterday, I took a bunch of grandchildren swimming so Ian could see all the younger cousins, half of them on Saturday and half on Sunday. So we ate at the pool, and Ian and I really could just get a green salad with fruit. Well, he got some fries, but anyway, and I was starving.
yeah.
I mean, you know, that wasn't, I had to get another thing of fruit. That wasn't enough. And my salads are sitting in the fridge now. I've got 2 extra now, so.
You're going to have to eat salad, girlfriend. You got
Yeah.
another question?
No, I was just reminding you that we've been on nearly an hour and a half.
Okay,
so
I know, but it's so fun.
We need to start. we can get
Laura and I could talk for
Yeah, Laura
hours.
can hang on
Tammy
for-
and I can do that, Tom.
Laura can hang on for a couple minutes, and you guys can debrief a bit, but we should let our audience
Okay.
get on with their evening.
Hang on, don't go away because we'll talk to you after we say
Okay.
goodbye to everyone.
Yeah,
You
I'm
were
gonna-
fantastic.
Thank you, everybody.
And you guys, if you want a consult, I highly recommend that you contact Laura. So many people from our last interview contacted you and got help. So, and watch our other interview with Laura so that if you are introduced to her for the first time today, then you'll get all of her background and see what she overcame to get where she's at today. So what we have coming up is next Sunday, we are going to, we're actually going to take next week off. And so it's the holiday weekend, and we're going to just have some good family time and not work. So we hope you all have a really safe holiday and get to do something fun. And then we will be back the following Sunday, which is that the June 6th. June 6th. Wow. Can you believe we're into June already? And so we will see you all then. And I think that's all that I have. Do you have any other announcements?
No, just be back. We'll be back on June 6th and we'll see everybody then. So I should go on this thing. So anyway.
And we did, in case you missed it last week, we did announce that we won't be able to attend the National Health Association conference that Laura is going to. Sorry, we're not going to get to see you, Laura. But I'm still having problems with my sciatic nerve, and so I cannot travel right now. And so I know we had heard from a lot of people that were like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to get to meet you in Ohio. So hopefully we'll get to go next year.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Okay. So everybody, thank you for being here. Laura, you're holding on, but you're muted right now. So we'll be back to you in a minute.
Okay. Thanks so much, Laura. I think everybody learned a lot from you today, and we really appreciate you sharing all of your knowledge, and thank Ian for us as well. I'm Tammy.
And I'm Tom.
And we help you get healthy and stay healthy.
Oh, wait. We forgot. Moderators, thank you.
Oh.
Tiffany, did you see your flowers? Anyway, Randy and Jesse and Tiffany, thank you for taking care of business in the chat and answering all the questions that you did and keeping me tuned in to what's going on with your reminders. I love it when you help me spot things. So we were just wrapping up. I'm Tom.
And I'm Tammy. And we help you get healthy and stay healthy, one meal at a time. Thanks so much, you guys. Bye-bye.